and gentlemen, welcome to my Week 1 NFL predictions. Oh yes, it's finally back. Seriously, finally. Anyway, hopping right into the plugs and then into the video, don't forget to use code Wyatt's World on G Fuel, Waggle, or Prize Picks. By using my codes on G Fuel or Waggle, you'll save a discount on any of their products, and by using it at sign up on Prize Picks, you're gonna guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 entry. And just a quick reminder that Dak Prescott has a free square for Thursday's game where all he needs is 1 yard for the entry to win. And also don't miss out on getting in the NFL seasonal predictions. Bunch of different categories here, but always play responsibly. And let's get into the video. So, kicking off the NFL season with Thursday night football, we have got the Dallas Cowboys going into Philadelphia. Keep it short and sweet with you here. I think the Eagles are going to win this one 24-17. Look, I definitely expect Dallas to have some firepower. It's not like they're dead in the water by any means, as much as some people want to believe it. However, I don't like their run game one bit. A matter of fact, I would go an extra mile as to say I hate it. I think not only will their run game, hold them back from remaining on the field offensively, but also from keeping up with Philadelphia point-wise. Philadelphia, in my head, theoretically should be just as good as they were last year, arguably. Moving on to Friday's game, which I believe is in Brazil, we have the Chiefs facing the Chargers, and I believe this is technically a Chargers home game, which absolutely stinks, but I got Kansas City winning a really close game here, 23-21. Look, I would love nothing more than Kansas City to open up a year going 0-1, but they're not a bad team, and people just don't want to admit that. Trust me, I dislike them as much as anybody, but when you've got the coaching and you've got the talent on both sides of the ball that they do, they're always going to be a winning team. I'm expecting this game to have a really slow start, but by midway through the second quarter, I think we're going to be cooking, and we just got to hope that the field is in better condition than last year's, where players literally couldn't even stand up straight. Now moving on to Sunday, kicking it off, we have the Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay wins 28-20. This should be a very, very entertaining game. Two explosive offenses, explosive quarterbacks, explosive receivers, explosive running back. I also expect to see an interception coming from both quarterbacks this game. Two risk takers in a game that I expect to be close the entire time, yeah. And honestly, if you did pick Atlanta here, I wouldn't call you that crazy, but I cannot do it because every time I pick Atlanta, I get burnt worse than a 90-year-old piece of toast. And now we've got the Bengals at the Browns. I think the Bengals are going to win in a pretty boring 20-10 ball game. Look, Cleveland's defense is their bread and butter at this point, and they're going to hang in there for all they can, but they're going to get worn out at the end at some point, and that'll open up the scoring opportunities through the air for Cincinnati if you're asking me. Also, not only because I have this guy in fantasy, but I am expecting a big game out of Jerry Jeudy. Joe Flacco is slinging the ball, and they're playing Cincinnati's horrible defense. Like, analytically, he should be in for a sizable game, but not enough for the Browns to win. Now moving on, we got the Dolphins at the Colts. Dolphins win this one 26-17. I don't really know what to expect as far as the actual game, like how it's going to look or anything. You got to think Miami's mega-brained head coach will be able to get past a team who doesn't expect to have their head coach in a matter of months. I was preaching it all offseason. I thought the Colts were going to be terrible. Then about half the people that were calling me crazy kind of started to agree with me, and half the people are still doubling down that I'm going to be way wrong. Well, let's find out. Go out there and beat Miami. Because if you did, that would be really funny. Now we've got the Panthers at Jacksonville. I'll take the Jags, I guess. This one can go both ways, really, flip a coin, but I believe Jacksonville has the more disruptive defense. It's another game where I'm absolutely expecting interceptions coming from both quarterbacks, and it's another game that I expect to be very sloppy for the first quarter, maybe the first half. But it will pick up, and the Jags will squeak by 17-10. Pretty low scoring. Now moving on, we have the Raiders at the Patriots. This is a very interesting game, and a very interesting game that I am actually going to pick New England to win 20-14. Look, I don't trust Vegas secondary enough. I don't trust their defense enough, and I absolutely do trust New England. I trust their talent, and I trust the guy who's running the operation over there now. I think Jenny's going to have a slow week one. I think Gino's going to have a slow week one, and I think Drake May is going to be airing the ball out nearly the entire game, and he is going to have a pretty impressive showing for week one. Again, I do have him in fantasy, but you guys know I've been a Drake May supporter since day one. That'll bring us to the Cardinals at the Saints, and this game is going to be closer than it ever should be. Arizona's going to win 23-17, but this just has all the makings for a game that should be an absolute blowout. In somehow, some way, it's just going to be close, but the Saints will not win. Not in today's world. Can anybody with an actual brain pick the Saints? They have nothing. Their best player is like 40. Also, they're starting Spencer Rattler, and as much as I want to, you know, support my boy, I don't, because he sucks. I think the guy's too impulsive, and at the same time, it's really weird to say this, but I think he's also extremely indecisive. It's like just one or the other, no in between. Arizona, this is your chance to really put a team to bed. How about you do it? Prove me wrong here, and don't make this a close game. Now moving on, we have the Giants at the Commanders. Commanders win 27-17. Look, I want to believe in the Giants. I think their defense is actually going to be decent. I think that their team is honestly a little underrated right now, but Washington is going to have one of the most explosive and just fast-paced, high-octane offenses in all of the league. I will admit their running situation's a little weird right now, but even aside from that, this is still an offense, Jaden Daniels included, that can hit you from anywhere. It's the unpredictability from Washington that gets me. You never really know what they're gonna focus on. And that's also what messes teams up so bad, because teams don't know what to focus on. Should be a good start for the Commanders. Next game we have is the Steelers at the Jets. I think the Steelers win 17-13 in what I foresee as an absolute snooze fest. But I also foresee who I think is the better coach here, Mike Tomlin, getting out with the win. Mike Tomlin might not be the greatest coach anymore, but he still surely is good enough to beat the Jets. I expect Rodgers to get a little bit of revenge. And I think the Steelers' run game will keep their offense from stalling. And also, I just think it's going to be kind of weird if the Jet fans boo Rodgers. Like, okay, I kind of get it, but also it wasn't his choice to leave. You guys got rid of him. Anyway, this is also my dad's pick, so Dad, who do you got?
Hello, all you Wyatt's World junkies. It's Wyatt's dad, or the fossil, back for another season of picks. This week, I'm looking at the New York Jets and Pittsburgh Steelers game. Got the Steelers shirt on, of course. Both teams should have solid defenses. Pittsburgh with the most tenured coach in the league with the current team right now. And on the other side, you've got Aaron Glenn, who is a rookie coach. And of course, Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit, supposedly a defensive-minded coach, was a defensive coordinator there. I still question that a little bit because Detroit basically had to outscore teams to win. On the offensive sides of these teams, they're a little bit of a question mark basically because they switched quarterback. I think in this particular game, Rodgers will probably get the better of Fields. Fields is going to have a hard time moving the ball against that Pittsburgh front. You got Watt, you got Hayward in there, you've got Highsmith, and then that secondary of Pittsburgh's, they have a few people that are a little bit long in the tooth in Slay and Ramsey. Ramsey, I guess, isn't that old. But then Porter's in there. It's still a solid veteran secondary. I think he's going to have trouble throwing on him. I think he's going to have trouble running. They have Breece Hall, but I don't think he's going to get loose either because they're going to focus on that run game, putting a stop to it. Other side, the Jets have a solid defense, but I think Aaron Rodgers will create a receiver in Roman Wilson, a good route runner with Michigan. I think he'll do well with Rodgers, and of course they have Metcalf there. I think this game is going to be about 3 touchdowns and a bunch of field goals. I like Pittsburgh to win this game 23-16. I hope you Wyatt's World junkies enjoy this first weekend of football, and I will see you next week.
That'll bring us to the Titans at the Broncos. Broncos win 21-7. On paper, theoretically, this should be one of the most agonizing 3 hours that a Titans fan will experience since draft night when they traded A.J. Brown and then later on drafted Treylon Burks. I really don't see this being a close game, and typically when I say that, it's a close game. And now moving on, we have the 49ers at the Seahawks. I think this will be a close game, but I'm going to shockingly take San Francisco to win 24-20. Look, a lot of San Francisco's offensive players still do have injuries lingering, but majority of their key weapons are going to be good to go, at least it sounds like for week 1, which I think is massive. Now on Seattle's side of things, if their O-line is, actually improved, we could see a potential chance of rebirth from Kenneth Walker, a guy who actually, believe it or not, at one point, I did think was great, but I just haven't seen it in 3 years. I think JSN will have a good game too, as long as Sam Darnold can get the ball out in time. But at the end of the day, the better offense to me is still San Francisco. Therefore, I'm going to give this game to them. Now we've got the Lions at the Packers. I'm going 27-23 Lions. Too much firepower to deny. And until I see this team actually struggle in the regular season, I'm not going to pick against them. I mean, I have no reason to really pick against them. Yes, I know they lost both their coordinators. Yes, that's scary. But they still got the same coach. They still have the same weapons. They still have the same team. Especially with players like Hutch coming back, I think that's going to be an even bigger factor. And a matter of fact, I'm not sure which defense is going to come from, but I would even like to predict that there will be a defensive touchdown in this game. My prediction here is the Lions start out 1-0. That'll bring us to the Texans at the Rams. I think the Rams drop 30 on the Texans, beating them 30-21. That's, assuming Stafford does indeed play like he's supposed to, and he has time to throw the ball, because if those two things happen, that guy's throwing over 300 yards. The Texans are not as perfect as some people want to make them seem. They are a good football team. They have some great players, but they are far from complete. I think CJ is going to deal with an onslaught of pressure. I think it's going to be a lousy run game for Houston, and I think the game is going to get broken open pretty early. And now we've got Sunday Night Football, where we have the Ravens at the Bills. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually going to pick the Ravens to win this in a 30-27 shootout. And honestly, I could pick the Bills, and I don't think I'd be crazy for doing that. Not only are the Bills one of the best teams in the league, but playing the Bills at home is like a death sentence for certain teams. Like, they're one of the hardest teams to beat at home. But even so, man, I think that they fall short by a field goal to the Ravens, because I think the Ravens have the best roster in the league. As much as I know Josh is going to keep them in this game, I know that the secondary will have problems. I seriously hope I'm wrong here, but unfortunately, and hopefully the Bills are just getting it out of the way right away if so, but I think they're going to lose in week 1. And ending, we have Monday Night Football, the Vikings at the Bears. I really got to wait till the end for both of my teams to play, don't I? Anyway, the Vikings are going to win this 21-20 in a thriller. It's a thriller. I'm done. Look, as much as I refuse to believe in Chicago, it would be insane to deny the possibility of them beating the Vikings. They have weapons and they have the coaching to do it, but so does Minnesota, and Minnesota just happens to have better everything. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I think they are flat out a better team with better coaching. So I'm going to call my shot right now. JJ McCarthy will win his debut, but he's only going to throw for about 150 yards. Vikings win. And that is also going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for my week 1 NFL predictions. As always, let me know where you agree. Let me know where you disagree. And if you want to show support to this video, please do it, because I appreciate any and all help. In the meantime, though, I'm going to get this edited so everyone can watch it on time. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you in the next upload.